Good evening from PLUGHITZ Studios in Largo, Florida. I'm Scott.
I'm Avram.
And we are here with episode 535 of F5 Live, Refreshing Technology, for Sunday, August 18th, 2019. This show is a proud part of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. This week, Apple's fighting the EU, Ninja is fighting for his brand, and CBS and Viacom are trying to fight Disney. Wherever you are and however you're accessing our show, whether it be on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, on any of the podcatchers, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, the Podcast Play app in the Windows Store, on any of our live stream platforms, livestream.com, Periscope, Mixer, Twitch, Facebook Live or YouTube Live, or of course on our website, PLUGHITZlive.com. Thank you for making us a part of your day. There are two ways that you can do that. The first is by going to f5live.tv/join us Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. And there you can chat with us in the studio and watch the show live. We always love to hear feedback about the topics as we discuss them. So definitely feel free to join us. If you can't join us live, that's okay. PLUGHITZlive.com/subscribe will show you this show and all the others and all the different ways that you can subscribe to F5 Live, the Piltch Point, PLUGHITZ Live Presents, and a whole lot more. And with that, Avram, how have you been, buddy?
Not bad. It's a going.
Okay, well, it's a going is
just it's a little bit of a stressful week, but looking forward to a better one.
Well, that's good. It's been a little bit of a stressful week here too. We undertook what was supposed to be a small project of switching out the desk that sits right here to my right that is off camera. It was supposed to be like a 10-minute project, and when we pulled the desk out, we found a big pile of dirt, identifiable to anybody in Florida as an anthill in the studio. So I had to take the whole big black and colorful wall that's back here behind me down. All these tiles came down. The false wall behind me came down. And we had to have the bug company come out and spray. There's the baseboard has a hole in it where the ants were coming in. They had to seal that up. So what was supposed to be a 10-minute project turned into a 4-day project.
Oh man, we had an ant nightmare last summer.
Did you?
Like that. Yeah, they were invading.
Yeah, it's just no fun. At home, I've had them.
Mainly makes me want to move to the International Space Station so that I can avoid the insects.
Yeah, fair enough. I think I can understand that. Oh, but what a pain that was to deal with. Seriously, it was supposed to be a 10-minute project. It was not supposed to take 4 days. But I did get to rewire everything. The TV next to me for the live show, the whole thing got rewired, and it's better now than it was before, but that was not my intention for the week. But the good news is, you can see, if you're watching us, you can see that the wall is back up again, so everything is back to normal in here, or at least as normal as it ever gets in here, so huzzah. But yeah. How about we get down to some news, Avram? I think we've got a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
This week's Nifty Gifties on F5 Live is proudly powered by the Microsoft Store. Whether you're looking for supplies for back to school, for work, for home, the Microsoft Store has it all, from Surface products to laptops and tablets from other companies, including products from Samsung, like the new Note 10, the Galaxy S10 and S10 Plus, plus of course the Xbox One, S and X, VR headsets, and a whole lot more. And they're all available at the Microsoft Store by going to f5live.tv/Microsoft. And remember that students and military get a 10% discount. So, there has been a lot of talk over the last couple of years about the EU, and the European Union, and some of their interesting tactics with the tech companies, especially from the United States. And one of the topics that gets pointed to often is an incident between the EU and Apple. In 2016, the EU claimed that Apple had underpaid Ireland for their taxes for the last decade. Ireland came to Apple's defense and said, no, they were following our tax law. They paid what we asked them to pay. Why are you getting involved? And the EU said, our job, and filed a suit claiming that Apple owed 13 billion euro in back taxes. Apple has obviously fought this ruling, and in an interesting turn of events, Ireland has fought on Apple's side, saying, no, the money would be nice, but it's not owed to us. Back up. So this case will be going before the European Commission in just a couple of weeks, at the beginning of next month, I believe. And it's the final appeal. And Apple and Ireland are going to fight the EU for Ireland's autonomy to tax on their own laws, which is such a fascinating situation. I'm not hearing you, Avram.
So obviously that's not good news for Ireland because they want to have their sovereignty and to be able to make deals with different companies to attract business. So if they lose, that means that they can't try to make themselves more attractive to the Apples of the world by giving them a tax break.
Right. Which obviously, for those of you who don't follow, like the weird European laws, the way that I do. So most of the U.S. tech companies have their European headquarters in Ireland because of what Avram just said. Ireland has set up a situation to make it appealing to tech companies in the same way that Georgia has made it appealing for production companies to come film their TV shows and movies in Georgia by creating tax incentives and all kinds of things. Ireland has done the exact same thing in Europe and created a scenario where the tech companies want to be there. And this wouldn't be good for Ireland or any of the tech companies who headquarter themselves there. And it seems like every time we turn around, the EU is creating a situation like this to like alienate U.S. tech companies. Going back to what used to be called the Google tax, God, as far back as, what did that stuff start in 2013, I think? 2014, when they announced what would be the Google tax that it eventually drove Google News out of Spain, and then expanded from there. It seems like they're constantly like attacking the U.S. tech companies, and I don't know why. Silicon Valley believes that it's out of jealousy, but that is what I would expect Silicon Valley to say. What do you think, Avram? is this just the EU being the EU, or do you think there's actually like a target on U.S. tech companies' heads, like Silicon Valley believes?
I think it's EU being the EU, trying to find ways to collect. I think I don't know a lot about EU politics, but on the other hand, if one company like Ireland has real problems, has the ability to give more favorable deals to companies, maybe they view it as unfair to the other countries that are not getting that business.
But wouldn't that just create competition? Isn't that exactly what happens here in the case of production? It's exactly what happens here. The states want the business. They do what they can to get it there. Look what happened with I mean, it didn't end up going as planned, but look what New York did with Amazon, right? Everybody wanted Amazon's business, and New York was put together the best pitch.
Right. Or there's Wisconsin with Foxconn, but that hasn't quite worked out so well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I agree that they should be free to do that, right? They should be free to do what they're doing. So, maybe the EU sees some opportunity here to collect more taxes. It's not a good thing because, you want those businesses being able, feeling able to invest.
Yeah, because
feeling able to invest in Ireland.
Yeah, they're investing in Europe in general, right? Just because they're headquartered in Ireland doesn't mean that Apple's not selling iPhones all over Europe. Yeah, it's just where their headquarters is. They're doing design work over there. They've got software studios in Europe, and it's all because they're able to have a European headquarters. But if all of a sudden it doesn't make sense to do that anymore, maybe they don't have a European headquarters. Maybe they do all of their business out of their regular corporate offices, and oh well. It'll definitely be interesting to follow. It's interestingly, it is one of the uniting topics between the last two presidential administrations, because both President Obama and President Trump have fought on Apple's side to try and get this dropped. So it is one of the few truly uniting topics in the American political landscape, is this tax bill. So it'll definitely be interesting to see how this goes, and it doesn't look like it's going to take that long, because they are supposed to be going to court in just like 2 weeks, I think. So we will not have to wait long to see how this plays out. This week's Piltch Point with Avram Piltch is proudly powered by PureVPN. VPNs are a great way of obfuscating your browsing history online, so that your Google and Facebook don't know exactly who you are. Also, your ISP can't necessarily trace your activity, which can be good for everybody if you are following what Charter and Disney are up to with Hulu. So this a service like PureVPN is very useful for that, and if you're in a place that's not your normal home and you want to be able to use your normal home services like Hulu and Netflix, PureVPN can give you that capability too. And right now they are giving our viewers a wonderful deal. If you sign up for 2 years, you can get $2.88 a month instead of the normal price of $10.95 per month. That is a 74% savings, which is huge. And you can find out about all of that and sign up for the deal by going to piltchpoint.live/purevpn. So we've we've been seeing some changes in the tech field lately, especially price wise, right, Avram?
Yes. So there's been a glut of both NAND flash and DDR RAM on the market, and prices have been dropping. Now, NAND flash actually stabilized a little bit because there was a power outage at a Toshiba factory that makes NAND flash.
Oh
that
yeah.
that lasted for a little while, and that has affected supply ever so slightly to keep prices stable. But what's stable? If you haven't looked at the price of SSDs in a while, you would be shocked at how cheap they have become, and not just for crappy models. So, and not just in the corners of the internet. So, this week, one of my coworkers, who works for a different website and is not very tech savvy, sent me a note and said, "Oh, my son's my son's gaming laptop is really acting slow. Can you help me?" So she brought me this laptop, which was an Acer Predator Nitro 5, which is like a $600 laptop with an AMD like Ryzen 5 CP 2500U CPU and like 8 gigs of RAM and a 1 terabyte hard drive. And and I think it was Radeon 560 graphics. So not very powerful at all. But the thing about it that's the worst is just booting and loading programs was taking forever.
Mm-hmm.
So I told her, let's get an SSD and replace the hard drive. So to get a 1 terabyte SSD, she went over to Best Buy, not exactly known for being the cheapest place, but this actually is a pretty good deal, and got an SSD, 1 terabyte SATA SSD for $115. They have one from Western Digital Blue, and one from SanDisk. I think it's the SanDisk Ultra, and both fairly equivalent prices. And if she had only wanted to get, if she had only wanted to get 500 gig, which is still quite a bit for most people, she could have gotten that for $65. These are not off brands like Swordfish and Fatty Dove and Adroit Lark and.
I'm sorry. Was that called Fatty Dove?
Fatty Dove.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure I heard you right.
Right. Okay. So we could actually get on. There's a story that I've been wanting to do about all of the really weirdly named stuff on Amazon, and I came up with a list. I've been listing them. I've been breaking them down because I'm trying to actually do the research for this story and see if any of these companies will write me back and say, hey, this is why I chose to name my company this weird name.
Oh.
But there's some definitely weird off, but we tried mailing them and none so far has gotten back to us.
Okay.
But some of the great names, I gotta pull up my list for a sec because it's worth it. Anyway, if you're upgrading your SSD, you don't have to settle for a weird off-brand. You can get something quite respectable like SanDisk, Samsung, Western Digital, for Crucial, Intel, for really low prices, and you don't even have to. And let's say you want a high-performance drive, you want an PCIe NVMe drive. Well, those are going to cost a bit more, but you can still get a 1 terabyte drive, a NVMe drive for, depending on the sale, it could be as low as $100 or $120. So 2 terabyte drives are quite a bit more. You might expect to spend around $200. So 1 terabyte seems to be the sweet spot right now. But it's just really important to know that, like, if you have a laptop sitting around or an old desktop sitting around and you just want to breathe a little new life into it, it's not that expensive to go out and get an SSD and do the upgrade. And the other key thing to think about is, how am I going to do the upgrade? How am I going to copy one disk to the other? We had, and this is not expensive, a SATA to USB adapter. So we were able to attach a 2.5 inch SSD to one of the USB ports on that laptop, and then we downloaded a program called EaseUS to do backup, which allows you to do a cloning, to clone directly without having to reboot Windows or booting outside Windows. A lot of the solutions that are out there for cloning, like Clonezilla, require you to create a special USB disk and boot off of it. And I learned something this week that's actually kind of horrifying. Some computers these days, including the Acer Predator Nitro 5, and I'm going to guess some other Acers, will not boot off of certain USB drives. They don't support legacy boot. So if you're trying to boot a Linux Live drive on them, like Clonezilla requires or some other programs require, you cannot.
Whoa.
Isn't that terrible?
Yeah.
They don't have a way. They don't have a way of doing it. Like, I read through a lot of forum complaints about this. They let you disable what's called secure boot, but they do not allow you to like actually do. They will not see that drive. So you have to find something that will clone from within Windows, is what I'm saying.
Got it.
Well, rather than forcing you to boot off of a USB. So here, just for everyone's edification, here's a list of some of my favorite weird names. These are all companies that sell products, electronic products on Amazon. iDodo, or iDoodoo, depending on how you want to pronounce it. iDodo, a company that sells foot massagers. High Let Go. High Let Go sells different kinds of electronic parts, such as sensors and breadboards and things that people want for Raspberry Pi. My Toots is another company. My Toots sells. My Toots sells radio-controlled cars, walkie-talkies, miniature Bluetooth keyboards, Wolverine claws, USB cables, just a weird smattering of things.
One of those things is not like the others. The Wolverine claws.
Yes. Bang Cool sells kids' toys. Fidget has a weird collection of stuff, including electronics and wigs. Fidget Cute, another weird collection of stuff. Ape Man sells cameras and camera holders.
I've seen that one before.
One of my faves, they actually make some really good stuff. Elegoo sells Arduino and Raspberry Pi kits.
Yes, they do.
Brexlink, seemingly inspired by the political situation in the UK, sells chargers and USB cables. Generic, with 2 C's, sells mostly micro SD cards, but some pillows also.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Here are the bird ones. Fatty Dove sells micro SDs and SSDs. Brave Eagle also sells micro SD and SSDs.
Awesome.
Adroit Lark.
I totally want a Brave Eagle SSD. Not going to lie.
So which bird would you like the best? A Fatty Dove, a Brave Eagle, or an Adroit Lark?
I think a Brave Eagle. If nothing else, I kind of want to put the box up on my wall.
Yes. How about a John Will portable monitor? That's
John?
another brand. Would you like a Perfect monitor?
Well, I mean, it's perfect. How could you want anything else?
Perfect.
It's not.
No, they're telling you you're perfect. They're not saying it is.
Fair enough.
How about my favorite? Also, there's a company that sells mechanical keyboards called Royal PLUGHITZ.
Sure.
And Royal PLUGHITZ is the company that we saw at Computex that makes the world's weirdest keyboard. It's a mechanical keyboard with all the keys, but it's like a rectangle. In the middle of it is like a little hole to put your phone, to mount your phone. So I guess you're supposed to use it with your phone, but their key is literally behind the phone. So you'd have to be typing like this and your phone's here.
Huh.
It's so weird.
So anti-ergonomic is what you're saying.
Yes. It's a Royal PLUGHITZ.
They definitely got the name right.
Ranky makes USB cables. So do Belong Me and Snow Kids. Your Best makes buttons and switches. A. Artman sells a wide range of electronic products. Oh, and Dogfish is another brand that makes SSDs. Cushion makes flash drives.
Yeah.
You
have to spell that one now.
Cushion?
Because of the way you said it.
Kootion. Cushion.
Okay.
Is that how it's spelled?
Yeah.
Is that how you would pronounce it?
Yeah.
Then there's a company that makes laptops and cheap Windows tablets called All Do Cube.
Yep. I've encountered them.
Then there's a company that makes phones I never had heard of called X-Gotti.
Oh.
Like as in Gody.
Huh.
So is it made by former priests? I don't know.
Or
X-Gotti.
Or mafia family.
Yeah, but it's spelled God.
I know.
Gotti, not Gotti. Yes. So inadvertently, I've just gone through my list of weird names, but there are always new ones popping up. It's hard to say which one is the favorite. But I guess if you have to choose between a Brave Eagle and a Fatty Dove, I guess you know who's going to win.
At least for me. X-Gotti also has true wireless Bluetooth headphones, earbuds.
Yep. They're miraculous.
Obviously, at this point, I have gone to their website. Their tagline is linking people, which sure sounds like connecting people, which was Nokia. But anyway, it's always fun to go through that weird stuff. But it's even more fun to talk about overall upgrade stuff. And I'll throw in a story. My business partner in the software company, Mark, recently did exactly the same thing. He had a laptop that had one of those weird hybrid drives, which does not seem to be good for anybody. It seems to be slower than a standard spinning drive because it has to figure out where stuff is. Anyway, not the point. The point is he had replaced it with a Surface Book 2, and so he's like, it would be a fun little project. I'm gonna get rid of this stupid hybrid drive, and I'm gonna replace it with an SSD and see what happens. So he did the same thing, and it's like a different computer. It's seemingly such a small thing, but it totally changes the experience.
Yeah, I mean, his computer is still way too slow, so maybe this didn't help enough. But my father gave my son his old laptop, which was like a ThinkPad X131E, which is like an education notebook with like a cheap AMD processor. that he had gotten maybe, 6-7 years ago.
Okay.
And it was so slow. And so I went to the store and I paid $20 to buy a PNY SSD to replace the hard drive in there. And it got incrementally better.
Mm-hmm.
$20.
Yeah, and I think that's the point here, right? Is that, one small or a couple of small upgrades to an existing PC can make a massive change in how they perform. And right now, with SSD prices being so surprisingly low, it's a great time to go out and make that particular change.
Yes. Also, keep in mind that we the folks in the U.S. dodged a little bit of a bullet because there were supposed to be some new tariffs coming into place this week or this month, and now they've been postponed to December 15th. So, I guess now is a good time because who knows what the tariff situation will be in December.
Very true. Well, Avram, as always, I love talking about this. We've been talking about SSDs for so long. I remember when we were excited that they had broken $1 a gig, and
yeah,
and now we're talking 10 cents a gig. It's
yeah.
incredible how quickly SSDs have become not just the norm, but unbelievably approachable. So, as always, thank you on that, and I look forward to seeing what we talk about next. This week's Extra Life on F5 Live is proudly powered by Razer. All the accessories you need to up your game on PC or console are available from Razer. Whether you're looking for a keyboard or mouse for your PC or your Xbox One, or you're looking for a controller, or possibly even a full system like the Razer Blade laptop, Razer has got them all. And in addition, there's webcams with built-in chroma, headphones, and all kinds of other things. You can find out about all of those and the deals that are going on right now by going to f5live.tv/Razer. So we talked 2 weeks ago, I think, about at the beginning of the month. So yeah, it must have been 2 weeks ago. We talked about that Ninja, who was one of Twitch's biggest streamers, had made the announcement that he had signed with Microsoft and would be streaming exclusively on Microsoft's Mixer platform, which is one of the platforms that we're on right now, if you're watching live. And that was a big deal because Ninja is probably the only streamer who's a bit of a household name. And he became that because of playing Fortnite. And obviously Fortnite is a fairly popular game in general, but especially a popular game with kids. And so Ninja is a bit of a hero to children, and so therefore became a household name. So when he left Twitch, he did what anybody does. He stopped streaming there. Just like for us, we'll stop streaming in a half hour or so, and our channel will leave the chat room on the side. It'll show our past broadcasts, give our viewers the chance to chat with each other, view the last couple of episodes, things like that, and any customizations we've made to our channel. And every other streamer on Twitch is exactly the same, with the exception of Ninja. Twitch created a custom landing page for Ninja's offline status, that showed recommended channels. Now, in reality, what it did was it showed like the 20 most popular Fortnite streamers right this second, whatever that second was. And obviously Ninja was unhappy with this because it was special treatment in a negative kind of a way. And, but despite his target demographic being significantly younger, Ninja is mostly a very professional person. He's very concerned about his brand and his relationships, and so he never said anything negative about Twitch until last weekend, basically while we would have been on the air. A channel figured out that exactly what they were doing with Ninja's profile and created an account, streamed adult content on it, which is obviously not allowed on Twitch, but Twitch let it run. It very quickly became the #1 viewed channel under the Fortnite category and was therefore recommended to Ninja's young audience that were looking for his profile for apparently several hours. And so obviously Ninja finally had to respond, and he posted a video on Twitter, which was actually fascinating because he apologized for something he had no control over. Because that's just the kind of, from what I can tell, that's just the kind of guy he is. He apologized for something he had no control over, and then basically called out Twitch for using his platform to promote the competition. And it's been a fascinating week to watch, because what it has done is it has resurfaced the concerns of streamers and viewers that some channels are treated differently than others. For example, Ninja being gone is being treated differently, but also that they kind of look the other way on adult content if it drives ad dollars for them, which is a similar conversation to what we talked about last week with YouTube, and YouTube having different rules for their stars. And it's definitely... Do you think it's just like the way these things work, that the stars are going to get away with things that nobody else does? I mean, it's been talked about in Hollywood for a century almost, that the stars are not like us. Do you think that's just a fact of life?
Yes. No question about it.
Okay. Even if they're not necessarily stars. Because in this case, it was a brand new channel that started to stream the content, but they became the #1 viewed channel in Fortnite probably within moments. So that meant ads were showing on their channel.
It does feel like Twitch is doing something. Yeah, it does feel like Twitch was doing something that they shouldn't have done. Like they should have caught that.
And they probably also shouldn't have changed Ninja's page specifically. They claim that it was part of a test for a new offline experience, but it was only tested on one channel. So it doesn't sound so much like a test, more because the headline said, what did the page title say? Your ninja is in another castle? Which is a pretty good Mario joke, but seems like they're specifically calling him out. And, you know, once somebody figured out what the algorithm was for what was being put there, you know that was going to get gamed. My belief is anytime you create rules, you create a game, and anytime you create a game, somebody's going to play it well. It is my argument when we talk about taxes. It is my argument when we talk about, you know, how to get your post to show up on Facebook. It is my argument when we talk about SEO. When you create rules, you create a game, and when you create a great game, somebody's going to play it better than somebody else. And I think that's exactly what happened here, and they shouldn't have created the game in the first place. That's my take on what happened. Do you agree?
Yes, I agree.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens. They have reverted his page back to a normal offline channel, obviously. The CEO put out a public apology to Ninja on Twitter, actually tagging him twice in the chain of tweets, making sure that everybody knew that they were aware of what happened and that it sucked. But I don't think that's enough. So it'll be interesting to see what happens between Twitch and Microsoft and Twitch and Ninja over the coming weeks. This week's news from the tubes and F5 Live is proudly powered by RiffTrax. Make fun of movies or let these guys do it for you. Mike Nelson, Bill Corbett, and Kevin Murphy, the former stars of Mystery Science Theater 3000, are back and doing what they do best, creating commentaries for Hollywood blockbusters and B-movie oddities such as Star Raiders. The way it usually works is for a couple of dollars, you download the MP3, play it along with your DVD, Netflix, Amazon, wherever the movie happens to exist, and laugh. From time to time, they do live events. They've got one coming up in 2 days. On August 20th, it is the nationwide replay of the giant spider invasion in theaters nationwide. And to find out what theaters you can see it in, what full-length features are available, and what short films you can watch, you can go to f5live.tv/RiffTrax with an X. All right. So, I think we all know that security products, such as antivirus, are intended to protect us from the oddities that are the internet. But this week, it was revealed that one antivirus had, in addition to doing that, also created a new potential surface area, not necessarily for attack, but certainly for tracking, and that is Kaspersky. All of their antivirus tools, including the free tool and the paid tool, were injecting a small amount of JavaScript into every web page as it loaded in an attempt to show you what were safe and unsafe links on the page, which is a great idea. It's obviously not new. It's something that has been around for a while, but it's a great tool that makes browsing the web a little safer. However, the JavaScript that was included had what is known as a UUID, which is a universal unique identifier, which essentially means that for your device, the number is always the same. No matter what you do, it's always the same. So whether you are in Chrome, regular incognito, Edge, regular or private, Firefox, regular or whatever they call their incognito mode, the number was always the same. So it made tracking the user very easy, from page to page, from site to site, from browser to browser. So long as you were on the same computer, your number was traceable all over the interweb. Obviously not a great scenario for those who are interested in anonymizing their browsing activity, such as through something like PureVPN. This would have even defeated PureVPN because it was on the sites. The sites could have easily scraped their own JavaScript code and pulled that UUID out of it and been able to track. If Facebook had been aware of it, they could have added it to the Facebook Pixel code, which is its own special beast all over the web. Kaspersky was informed about this a couple of months ago. In June, they pushed a patch to remove it. and they have since put out a public security advisory around the thing that they created, warning people, please update because this sucks. So definitely unfortunate. It's one of those things that, most people simply wouldn't know was even possible, let alone know to look for when choosing an antivirus program, because who would have suspected that something like this would even be possible? It's crazy to me. But it's a good thing that it went through a normal bug security process. The reporter, who is a reporter, Ronald Eichenberg, is a legitimate tech reporter, reported it to Kaspersky without publishing an article about it. Let them fix it before writing and publishing his article on it, which, when it comes to security bugs in particular, that is the proper behavior so that you don't expose unwitting people to something like that. Obviously, if they don't fix it, you should let people know that it's there. But they fixed it, so hooray. But woo, what a weird situation, Avram. It's
indeed.
It always sucks
Why
to hear.
Why did they allow that in the first place?
Right? And that's the thing. It's such a weird behavior. Why would they have needed a UUID to be able to determine whether somebody else's URL was safe?
Yeah, it seems fishy to me. It's and then they immediately pull it down. Where's the explanation for why they did it?
There's no specific explanation for it. As much as I would like for there to be, they did have a bit of a press release type statement that was not great. It said, Kaspersky has changed the process of checking web pages for malicious activity by removing the usage of unique identifiers for the GET requests. This change was made after Ronald Eichenberg reported to us that using unique identifiers for the GET requests can potentially lead to the disclosure of a user's personal information. Well, that doesn't explain anything. It explains technologically what they were doing, but not at all why. To me, the only reason that they would have been doing it is so that they could track the behavior. Maybe not from a malicious standpoint. Maybe this particular user ends up on places with fishy links all the time. Maybe they're trying to learn personality behaviors or something like that. But the only reason I can figure that they were doing it is so that they could track user behavior, which isn't better. So, and like you said, the fact that they're like, oh, yeah, gone. That's fishy.
Right, so either they're completely incompetent and don't know what their code did, which seems unlikely, or they knew what it did. They didn't have a valid excuse for having it, and when they're caught, they said, oh, sorry, we'll remove that.
Yeah. Which, it's a security firm. It's one of the largest security firms in the world. There's no way that they're so incompetent that they didn't know what a short block of JavaScript was doing. They knew. So, yeah, I'm with you. It's B, for sure. And, when it comes to a security firm, this isn't the kind of thing you want out in the wild, You don't want to have information out there that undermines your validity as a security firm. So I feel like this can't be good for them. They've already been fighting the whole they're a Russian company thing for a number of years, and that scares off enough people that this may not make things better for them. So, I don't know. I guess we'll see. This week's DRM Not Included on F5 Live is proudly powered by Amazon Prime. In addition to your free shipping, you also get a whole bunch of cool benefits like Amazon Prime Music, which gives you several million tracks available to stream for free, and you can upgrade that to the full Amazon Music product for even less now. I think it's only a couple of bucks instead of the normal like $5.99. That's a great deal. You also get Amazon Prime Video, which gives you TV, movies, documentaries, both original and licensed content, including some HBO stuff and all kinds of products or shows. All of that is included as part of your subscription. Twitch Prime, which gives you one free subscription every month to support the streamer of your choice. You get that. You get free games every month. If you're a Nintendo Switch owner, you get a free year of Switch Online for a short period of time, so definitely go get that. We have created a page with links to all these things so that you can find them easily, and if you're not already a Prime subscriber, we have for you a 30-day free trial to find out if it's for you. You can find all of that by going to f5live.tv/prime. Obviously, we have been talking a lot over the last year, probably, about a number of big acquisitions and mergers, and also the battle against the streaming giants, particularly the new ones, the ones who are not traditional media companies, such as Netflix and Amazon Prime Video. But also Hulu, which originally wasn't really a traditional operator, but is now almost entirely owned by Disney and will be owned entirely by Disney by the end of, I think, next year. So there are some fights to be had in some of the smaller media companies. Obviously, smaller media companies is subjective because they're still all large companies. But anyway, some of the smaller media companies have either given up or have joined forces to try and to fight this changing tide. And the newest member of that club is Viacom and CBS are becoming one company again. These two have the strangest corporate history, definitely in the entertainment industry. Viacom, the brand Viacom, started as CBS Films, became Viacom, was spun off to its own company, grew bigger than CBS, bought CBS's parent company, changed their name to CBS, took the brands that they didn't care about, and created a new company called Viacom and spun it back off again. And now those brands are coming back home. The new company will be called ViacomCBS with no space, which is a huge pet peeve for me, Warner Media. So they will be called ViacomCBS, and so now CBS and Showtime will be the same company as Nickelodeon and MTV. Both companies, in the grand scheme of things, small in compared to Disney, which owns Marvel and Lucas and Pixar and Fox, or AT&T that has distribution through DirecTV. They have the entire Warner Media family. Which includes HBO and CNN. So there's been obviously some concern over CBS's smaller footprint, and we've talked about CBS All Access, right, Avram? We've talked about CBS All Access and their uphill battle to try and gain subscribers. If they can add stuff like Nickelodeon shows and MTV back catalog stuff and all that to CBS All Access and still keep the price under $10, which is their plan, they might actually be able to finally start attracting a user base large enough to pay for itself. Maybe. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they need to do something to boost CBS All Access. I mean, it's great that they're adding some more Star Trek content besides Discovery, having the Picard show coming and the Lower Decks cartoon. But
I forgot about that one.
I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be enough for them to compete with Netflix and Disney Plus and Amazon Prime Video, which just have so much content.
Yeah.
So,
and especially with with the Disney behemoth, right? It's for about the price of Netflix for a single Netflix HD subscription. You're gonna get Hulu Plus, ESPN Plus, Hulu Plus. God, they haven't called it that in years, have they? Hulu, ESPN Plus, and Disney Plus, which I mean is a lot of content, including all those original Marvel shows. I mean, 2 Star Trek series and a cartoon, I don't think is enough to compete with the giant that will be the Marvel TV shows.
Oh, and Young Sheldon.
And back episodes of Big Bang Theory.
Yeah. I don't get it. I really don't get it. I don't get it, folks. Why do people want to watch? First of all, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't like Big Bang Theory. I think it's terrible. I think it's a crime against geeky people. I think it has terrible, ridiculous stereotypes, and it's not funny.
And got more sexist as the show went on. But that's a whole different topic.
I didn't hate watch it enough to know about that. But anyway, I don't get the obsession with watching old shows and like $100 million Netflix was paying for the right to show Friends for 1 year.
Yeah.
Who are the bozos who keep watching old episodes of Friends?
I know a lot of people.
Get a life. Sorry.
I know.
Sorry, folks.
I know a lot of people.
I watched it when it was on the first time. It hasn't aged well.
That's for sure. Else. It has not aged well. I mean,
so like $100 million that they were spending on that, but they canceled good shows, original shows like the OA, so that they can keep spending $100 million for that crap. I mean,
in fairness, they will be losing both Friends and The Office.
Yes.
But we're still not going to get a season 4 of Travelers, so.
Right. Like, what the heck? That's some poor decision making there. Although I guess they were looking at and seeing how much people depend on it. But who is the person? I really want to meet the person that's like, listen, I don't know. Netflix has all these great shows on it. It's got all this original content. Like Netflix is like a habit I can't quit, because every time I think that they're out of shows for me to watch, and like there's nothing, another new show comes on, and it's like, oh, now I gotta watch this. Right now, I'm just gonna give the audience a really good recommendation. I'm almost through season 2 of Mindhunter. Mindhunter is like the greatest, one of the best shows I've ever seen, and it's back as of last Friday. You gotta see it. That's on Netflix.
I've not even heard of it. I will be researching it after the show.
Mindhunter is about it's fictionalized, but it's about the group of people at the FBI who invented criminal profiling, of profiling serial killers and all of their like adventures and doing that. It actually doesn't sound as cool as it is. You got to see it, because descriptions of it aren't as cool as the actual output.
If I have learned anything from you, Avram, it's that TV recommendations from you are almost always a win. So, I'm in.
Good. So anyway, yeah, that is a fantastic show. Like, so how is CBS and Viacom going to compete with that stuff by having, yes, it's great that they have a few Star Trek shows. They're going to need to do better.
Right.
Now, I guess at some point the content bubble is going to burst for Netflix. Like, they spent so much money on this content. Eventually, they're just not going to be able to keep pace and be coming out with all the content that they are.
Yeah.
But if I were them, I wouldn't be blowing it money on renting old content from other companies. Like, at this point, I think people have Netflix because of the Netflix stuff.
Yeah, I think so too. Because it seems like every time I launch Netflix or Amazon Prime, anytime I open either one of those, all the stuff at the top, all the recommendations are new originals.
Yeah. Also, The Boys. You got to watch The Boys on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
It's like every week there's another show. Just when I think there's nothing left for me to watch, there's another show. And given that I can download these things to watch on the train, it becomes like, and then I can't help myself. Honestly, I'm addicted because, like, I'll be feeding the baby or something, and she'll be like drinking the bottle, and I'll be like having on the pillow there, like, Netflix, watching to see what happens in Mindhunter. So, like, all I can say is, it's going to be a hard road for Viacom to keep up with that.
Sure.
And it starts with having good content. And I don't really see, besides the Star Trek shows, a lot of great IP that they have. I mean, they have stuff for kids, like Nickelodeon properties.
Yeah.
And obviously they have all the MTV stuff. So if they want to go and do more Jersey Shore type of things, they can. But remember that most of CBS's content is like, it's been kind of known as an old people's channel. It's like they just show the NCIS over and over again.
Yeah.
Except that this time it's personal.
and I think that might be like part of what's going on here is by bringing Viacom back into the fold, being able to introduce Nickelodeon content, MTV content, Comedy Central content into the All Access family will truly diversify the content. Because, like you said, right now it's a whole lot of NCIS and a couple of Star Trek series. Well, one right now with another one coming, but it's not a diverse lineup like Netflix or Amazon, because I mean, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel and Man in the High Castle, both Amazon Prime originals, very different. The Tick, there's 3, very different content there. But with CBS All Access, there's just not that kind of diversity. You look at the Disney family, you've got everything from Marvel and Lucas, plus you've got the Simpsons and Family Guy. Like, that's, you know what I mean? That's a huge range of content that's available through Disney. We know Netflix has everything from the Stranger Things and the new docu-series The Family that just came out a couple days ago. Like, and then CBS has NCIS.
Yes.
This is their way to diversify, I think.
Yes. Well, hopefully it works for them.
Obviously, they still have to go through all the regulatory stuff, but media mergers have not had a whole lot of trouble in the last 4 or 5 years, the way telecoms have. So my guess is it'll probably happen fairly easily. It's important to note that it's not just CBS All Access. This new group will have CBS All Access, Showtime Anytime. Apparently, Viacom owns Pluto TV, which I didn't realize. And, of course, Noggin, which is the Nickelodeon kind of streaming service. So my guess is all of that starts to come under the All Access brand, and maybe the CBS name falls off of it and it just starts being called All Access or something like that. But they think that they'll have it done by the end of the year, which is a pretty quick turnaround. But the fact that they have been one company 3 or 4 times before probably lends a lot of credence to that theory.
So this is like the Elizabeth Taylor, the Taylor Burton of mergers.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Well, that is our show. Thank you to those of you who joined us live. We always enjoy... excuse me. We always enjoy our live viewers. We have 2 questions in the Mixer chat room that we will answer right after the show. We'll stay live and we'll come back because I don't necessarily know what they mean. So definitely, if you're live, we always enjoy that. If you want to join us, Sunday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, f5live.tv/join us. And if you can't join us live, that's okay. PLUGHITZlive.com/subscribe will show all of our shows and all the different ways that you can subscribe. If we're not on a platform that you would like us to be, let us know, and we will do everything in our power to get there. And with that, on behalf of the staff that's not here, I'm Scott.
I'm Avram.
And we will see you guys back next time. Ciao.